We will introduce clinical research informatics at this class. Here is our contents. You can see there is one part conclude another part. We will talk about clinical research first, and then clinical trial, then clinical trial management system, and then unified modeling language. Let's watch a case in Taiwan. This is a Taiwan bio company case called Haoding about clinical research and clinical trial news. Haoding is developed a new drug for breast cancer. The ASCO post is a lecture about clinical cancer research. You can see there is talk about the treating breast cancer. Haoding is trying to use this way to make a new drug for breast cancer, and Haoding is going to the phase 3 in the clinical trial. So what is clinical research and what is clinical trial? To develop a new treatment, you must experience clinical research. And how clinical research works? There is 3 phases for clinical research: preparatory phase, active phase, dissemination. In the preparatory phase, you need to plan about all your details for project, and then write to document to pass the confirm. Then you will recruit some people for your research. Prepare to start next part, active phase. In active phase, you will collect the data and make sure the data quality. Then finally, you finish the active phase and you start to analyze data, and then write the report for result to end this study. And let's watch a video, introduce more detail about clinical research and connect to clinical trials.
And then, how do we know whether or not it works? We test new vaccines in clinical trials to determine that they are both safe and effective before they get licensed in the US. Stick with us, this is going to be interesting. And although this applies to all kinds of drugs and vaccines, we're going to focus here on vaccines used for prevention of a specific type of infection. The first thing to know is that a lot of testing is done before a vaccine ever gets tested in humans. There is a long process of development in the laboratory, and testing both for safety and for protection in animal studies. After we have a vaccine that looks both safe and promising in preventing infection in the laboratory, we begin testing in humans. Because we don't know whether or not the vaccine will work, we begin a very structured set of studies called clinical trials. These studies involve healthy volunteers who are told in detail about how and why this vaccine is being tested, and about any potential harm. This educational process is a process called informed consent, and goes on before and during the trial. There's a continual discussion that happens between the researchers and the study volunteers, describing the study, informing the volunteers about any new information that happens at any time during the study, and answering all questions that the volunteers have. The study staff also determine whether the volunteer meets all eligibility criteria to participate, which involves physical exams and blood tests. Next, we start what is called a randomized, double-blinded clinical trial. What that means is that after volunteers enroll in a study, a computer randomly decides whether they will get the vaccine or whether they will get the placebo, which is usually just called fodder. We do this to be able to separate out side effects that are due to the vaccine from those that are just happening to people in the community at the same time, like the rate of cold symptoms or headaches. And we double blind, meaning neither the participant nor the study staff know who is getting which type of injection. That prevents both volunteers and the staff from over or under-reporting symptoms. We advise participants to tell us about everything that is happening to them. Before a vaccine is licensed by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, it usually goes through 3 phases of clinical trials, each of which has a specific purpose. Phase 1 trials, which can last up to 2 years, compares the safety. Does the vaccine cause any side effects? And tolerability. Does the injection hurt, and for how long? In this phase of study, scientists are also gathering information about the body's immune response to the vaccine to see whether it is a promising approach to preventing a specific infection. Phase 1 trials do not determine whether or not the study product is actually doing what we hope it will do. Phase 2 trials, which can last longer than 2 years, will confirm the safety in a larger group of volunteers and focus on the best dose and the best timing of vaccinations to produce the strongest immune response. Promising vaccines that are safe and generate a strong immune response move into Phase 3 trials. These are the largest trials and compare the rate of infection in the vaccine and placebo groups. This will tell us whether the vaccine is able to prevent infection, and if so, if it is effective in all of the volunteers or only a subgroup, like younger volunteers or women. Along with the safety data that is collected in all phases of vaccine studies, this efficacy data is used by the FDA to decide if the vaccine should be licensed, and if so, for whom it is recommended. In the best case scenario, it could take 6 to 10 years for a promising vaccine to move from Phase 1 testing to real-world distribution. Often it takes longer. The clinical trials are absolutely necessary to determine that a vaccine is safe and effective in preventing new infections. This video has been provided to you by Eureka Science.
In clinical trial, there are 4 parts. Phase 1, investigator evaluate the novel therapy in a small group of participants in order to assess overall safety. The safety assessment includes dosing level in the case of non-interventional therapeutic trials and potential side effects or adverse effects of the therapy. Often, Phase 1 of non-interventional therapy involves the using of normal volunteers who do not have the disease state targeted by novel therapy. Phase 2, investigator evaluate the novel therapy in a larger group of participants in order to assess the effect of the treatment in the target disease state. During this phase, assessment of the overall safety is continued. And Phase 3, investigator evaluate the novel therapy in an even larger group of participants and compare its performance to a reference standard, which is usually the current standard of care for this target disease state. The phase typically employs an RCT design, means randomized controlled trial, and often a multi-center RCT given the numbers of variation of subjects that must be recruited to adequately test the hypothesis. In general, this is the final study phase to be performed before seeking regulatory approval for the novel therapy and boarding used in standard of care environments. And Phase 4, investigators study the performance and safety the novel therapy after it has been approved and marketed. This type of study is performed in order to detect long-term outcome and effect of the therapy. It's often called post-market surveillance and is in fact not an RCT at all, but a less formal observation study. And here is an example about our school's clinical research center. It calls Joint Clinical Research Center. And PI means Principal Investigator. IRB calls Institutional Review Board. And here's all of the progress. So, do Halding pass the clinical trial phase 3? No, they do not. Unfortunately, after blinding experiments, their new drug didn't prove significant difference better than current treatment. And what is blinding experiments? And clinical trial is called single blind when only one party is blinded, usually the participants. If both participants and study staff are blinded, called a double-blind study. The video talks more detail about the blinding experiments. And there's another case, a successful case in Taiwan called Onibate, a drug treatment of the pancreatic cancer. And it passed the phase 3 of the FDA in 2015.
Today, I want to introduce clinical research will be applied to the system. EHR, CDSS, CTMS, and CRMS. What is EHR? EHR is electronic health record, and EHR can be used to collect clinical data on research participants in a structure from that can reduce data entry. And what is different between EMR, EHR, and PHR? EHR can be accessed via a computer or the internet, include both current and past individual health information, include medical related reference materials, medical treatments, drug use, demographics, and other non-medical management data. Look at this video to introduce contrast for EHR and EMR. What is CDSS? CDSS is Clinical Decision Support System, and CDSS can be used to alert providers and the point of care that an individual may be eligible for a clinical trial. A clinical decision support system is a health information technology system that is provide physicians and other health professionals with clinical decision support. Is assistance with clinical decision-making tasks. Clinical decision support system link health observation with field knowledge to influence health choice by clinicians for improved health care. That is Robert Hayward said. I think it's great. Influence choose. Look at this video to introduce for CDSS. From this picture, in simple terms, clinical decision support is a process, medical knowledge, and patient data after inference, engines, and finally case-specific advice. Benefits of CDSS combined with EHR. A successful CDSS and EHR integration will allow the provision of best practice, high quality care to the patient, which is the ultimate goal of healthcare. 3 areas that can be addressed with the implementation of CDSS and electronic health records are medication prescription errors, adverse drug events, and other medical errors. Barriers. Implementing electronic health record is healthcare setting includes challenges not more important than maintaining infections and safety drugging rollouts. The main areas of concern with moving into a fully integrated EHR and CDSS system are privacy, conditionality, user-friendliness, document accuracy and companies. Integration, uniformity, acceptance, and alert decentralization. AI in CDSS. Clinical care is often described as being a blend of art and science in the rest of clinical decision support system, which support clinical diagnostics processes with the analysis of information from beyond the exam room and the bedside. In the process, CDSS has emerged as one of the most concrete ways in which artificial intelligence is impacting healthcare and health IT. How CDSS application. We will be three in example for CDSS application. This is example 1 and example 2 and example 3. For clinical decision support system to deliver maximum value, they must service as effective conduit of data flow between the electronic health record and multiple health information systems for maximum positive impact on care. Data collection and alerts delivery must happen in real time to deliver their values throughout a hospital or health system. This process must be sustained for all episodes of care at all times. What is CMRS? Clinical research is a branch of healthcare science that determines the safety and effectiveness of medication, device, diagnostics, products, and treatment remains intended for human use. Those may be used for prevention, treatment, diagnosis, or for relieving symptoms of a disease. Clinical research is different from clinical practice. In clinical practice, acceptable treatment are used, while in clinical research, evidence is collected to establish a treatment. Look at this video to introduce for CRMS. And what is the CTMS? A clinical trial management system that can provide insights gleaned from the system's data to gain early and increased visibility into problems, progress, and possibility. The clinical trial management system features are divided into three types. 1. Inputting data. 2. Receiving an interface through a different system. 3. Automatical calculating. And look at this video to introduce for CTMS. And what is CIMS? CIMS is Clinical Informatics and Management Systems. National Yangming University introduced the Clinical Information Management System in 2007 by the National Institutes of Health in order to promote cooperation with physicians and hospitals. First, CIMS can be used for data collection in clinical trials, clinical research, disease registration, and the CSIS system was introduced to Taiwan by Associate Professor Yang Yongzhen in 2007. Next, specimen tracking and management system automatically give each specimen entering the system a unique barcode, and also provides the stored data of specimen, which is convenient for the user to easily track the specimen and allow user to easily find the location and information stored in the system. This is investigator-initiated trials. More than 80% of the alliances of the Taiwan clinical trial use CSIS. This process is the target that CMIS want to achieve. The GUID, a unique and unidentified identity code, allow researchers to use the one-way hash function calculation, which generates a unique set of GUID encoding without revealing the patient's personally identifiable information. If we can concatenate data, it will increase the availability of open data. But so we often hear that garbage in and garbage out. So what will we have to consider that if we use somebody's data? To share the data, we might have standard operating procedures and quality control mechanism.
In this part, I will introduce what kind language to communicate and change clinical information with many systems. Before introducing the SNOMED CT and ICD-10, We may to know that what is terminology and classification. Terminology is the structure, vocabulary used in clinical practice to accurately describe the care and treatment of patients. For example, SNOMED is a clinical terminology which is the structure, vocabulary used in clinical practice to accurately describe the care and treatment of patients. And classification is a structured way of organizing information into standard groupings, for example, ICD-9 and ICD-10. When should we use a terminology? We can use a terminology at data entry and its concept with multiple descriptions. Allows clinicians to record what they need and share information in different systems. This is an example of data entry. SNOMED-CT gives each vascular myelopathy a disease code, but ICD-10 classifies this vascular myelopathy into one code. What is SNOMED-CT? SNOMED-CT is a comprehensive, multilingual, controlled common clinical reference terminology, and its comprehensive coverage of disease, clinical findings, etiologies, procedures, living organisms, and outcomes used for recording clinical data. Advantage of using SNOMED-CT. SNOMED-CT provides a common language that enables a consistent way of capturing, sharing, and aggregating health data across specialties and sites of care, and a consistent way of indexing, storing, retrieving, and aggregating clinical data from structured computerized clinical records. And if you input the clinical information to SNOMED-CT, it will standardize detailed clinical information which you input to enable more accurate documentation of patient care and will enhance the reporting and analysis of medical outcomes. This is an example of SNOMED-CT. There are three terms description types in SNOMED. Fully specified name, FSN, preferred, acceptable. Each concept has a designated full name and a preferred term. Synonymous terms are terms that describe the concepts. The part of description in SNOMED-CT descriptions link appropriate human-readable terms to concepts. A concept can have several associate descriptions, each representing a synonym that describes the same clinical concept. Each translation of SNOMED-CT includes an additional set of descriptions, which link terms in another language to the same SNOMED-CT concepts. Every description has a unique numeric description identifier. Like this example, it has many descriptions, but all of them have the unique numeric. This is a part of video which I screenshot I think this is the target the Snowman City wants to express and practice. The slide is comparison of ICD 9CN and ICD 10CN. ICD 9 code contains Part A and Part B. Part A is category of code. Part B is etiology, anatomical site, and manifestation. And the ICD 10CM code contains Part A, Part B, and Part C. Part A is category of code. Part B is etiology, anatomic site, and severity. Part C is extension. 7th character of obstetrics, injuries, and external cause of injury. The slide details about ICD 9CN structure format. The first 3 digits are category of code, and numbers after the decimal point is related to etiology, anatomic site, and manifestation. And ICD-10-CN structure format. The first 3 digits are category of code, and the 3 number after the decimal point is related to etiology, anatomic site, and severity. The last code is extension for obstetrics, injuries, and external cause of injury.